Chains rattled against the metal floor as I was dragged into the arena, the crowd above already screaming for blood. I did not know where I was an hour ago. I had been driving home from work, rain hitting my windshield, radio playing some forgettable song. Then a light swallowed my car whole, and I woke up here, in a cage built for something that was definitely not human. The air smelled wrong, metallic and sharp, like static before a storm. Above me, thousands of alien faces packed into stone seats, their skin ranging from pale violet to deep emerald, all of them staring down with the same hungry excitement. A door hissed open across the arena. She walked out like she owned the planet, because apparently she did. Her robes were silver and gold, draped over a tall, slender frame, antennae twitching slightly above sharp violet eyes. A crown sat on her head, simple but unmistakably royal. "This is the famous human?" she said, her voice carrying through some kind of translator device strapped to her wrist. I expected something more impressive. The crowd laughed. I did not. I rolled my shoulders, testing the chains. They were loose enough to fight in, tight enough to remind me I was a prisoner. "My name is Daniel Carter, and 12 hours ago I was a mechanic with a mortgage and a bad knee from high school football. Now I was a spectacle." "You won't survive a minute, human," the princess said, stepping closer, her tone dripping with amusement. "My champion has killed 40 of your kind already. You will be the 41st. I looked past her, to the massive figure stepping out from the shadows behind her. It stood nearly 9 feet tall, covered in plated armor that looked fused to its skin, 4 arms ending in curved blades instead of hands. Its breathing came out as a low growl through vents in its helmet. 40? I asked, my voice steadier than I felt. "That's rookie numbers." The princess blinked, clearly not expecting a response. "You are either brave or foolish." "Probably both," I said. She raised a hand, and the chains around my wrists released with a metallic click. The crowd roared louder. I rubbed my wrists, eyes locked on the giant warrior now circling me, blades catching the arena lights. I had no weapon, no armor, just jeans, a torn work shirt, and steel-toed boots that had survived worse than this, probably. The princess retreated to a raised platform, taking her seat beside 2 guards. "Begin," she said, almost bored already. The warrior lunged first, faster than something its size should move. I dropped low, rolling sideways, feeling the wind of a blade pass inches from my shoulder. My heart pounded, but my mind stayed sharp, calculating angles, distance, timing, the same way I calculated torque ratios back in the garage. It swung again, 2 arms this time, crossing like scissors. I ducked under the first, sidestepped the second, and drove my elbow into what I guessed was a joint near its lower abdomen. The creature staggered back, more surprised than hurt. The crowd gasped. The princess leaned forward slightly. I did not have time to celebrate. The warrior recovered fast, swinging its lower right arm in a wide arc. I could not dodge that one cleanly, and the blade caught my forearm, slicing through fabric and skin. Pain flared hot and immediate, but I kept moving, using the momentum to spin away rather than freeze. Blood ran down my arm, dripping onto the arena floor. The princess's expression shifted, just slightly, from boredom to something sharper. I needed a weapon. I scanned the arena floor as I circled the warrior, keeping it between me and the platform. There, near the edge, a discarded length of metal piping from some broken structure. Not ideal, but better than my fists. I broke into a sprint, the warrior charging after me. I slid the last few feet, grabbing the pipe just as one of its blades crashed down where I had been standing a second earlier. Sparks flew off the stone floor. I came up swinging, the pipe connecting solidly with the side of its helmet. The impact rattled my hands, but the creature stumbled, disoriented for a precious second. "Impossible," the princess muttered, loud enough for the translator to catch and project across the arena. I did not waste the opening. I drove the pipe into the same joint I had hit earlier with my elbow, this time with enough force to hear something crack inside the armor. The warrior roared, a sound that shook dust loose from the arena walls, and swung wildly, blind with what I assumed was pain or fury. I rolled clear, lungs burning, arm throbbing, but my mind stayed locked on one thing: survive, adapt, win. The warrior turned to face me again, slower now, favoring its damaged side. I had bought myself time, but not victory, not yet. I thought back to every fight I had ever been in, every late night working on engines that fought back when bolts seized or parts refused to budge. You did not overpower a problem like this. You found its weakness and you exploited it without mercy. The vents on its helmet. That was how it breathed, how it cooled down during exertion. I had been so focused on its blades that I almost missed it. I circled wide, drawing it toward the center of the arena where the lighting was harshest, hoping the glare would slow its reactions even slightly. The crowd had gone eerily quiet now, no longer laughing, no longer certain how this would end. The warrior lunged one final time, all four arms swinging in a coordinated assault meant to end things quickly. I dropped to the ground, sliding between its legs in a move that would have made my old football coach proud, and came up behind it before it could fully turn. I drove the pipe straight into the vent on the back of its helmet. The reaction was immediate. The warrior convulsed, blades clattering uselessly against the floor as it dropped to one knee, then collapsed entirely, armor hissing as something inside it shorted out. I did not move away right away. My legs were shaking, my arm was numb from the cut, and every breath felt like it was scraping the inside of my chest raw. I had spent my whole life thinking the scariest moment I would ever face was a layoff notice, or a doctor telling me my knee needed surgery. None of that had prepared me for this, and yet somehow, something in me had known exactly what to do the moment it mattered. Maybe it was instinct, maybe it was every Sunday spent watching football with my dad, learning how to read an opponent before they moved. Maybe humans were simply built to adapt faster than anyone expected, even ourselves. I did not have an answer, and right then, I did not care. I was alive, and the thing that was supposed to kill me was not. Silence swallowed the arena. I stood there, chest heaving, blood dripping from my arm, pipe still clenched in my hand. I looked up at the princess, who had risen from her seat without realizing it, eyes wide, antennae stiff with shock. That, I said, voice rough but clear, was the 41st. The crowd erupted, but not with the bloodthirsty energy from before. This was something else, disbelief mixing with awe. Alien voices murmuring in languages I could not understand but somehow felt the meaning of. The princess descended from her platform slowly, guards flanking her, though neither moved to intervene. She stopped a few feet away, studying me like I was a puzzle she had gotten catastrophically wrong. "You should not have survived," she said quietly, the translator picking up the genuine confusion in her voice. "Yeah," I said, dropping the pipe, finally allowing myself to breathe. "People keep saying that." She stared at me for a long moment, then turned to her guards. "Tend to his wounds. He will not die today." One of the guards stepped forward with a small device, pressing it gently against the cut on my arm. A cool sensation spread through the wound almost instantly, the bleeding slowing, then stopping altogether. I had no idea what kind of technology that was, but I was not about to complain. The princess remained close, watching the process with an expression I could not quite place. Curiosity, maybe. Or the start of something she had never expected to feel toward a creature she had walked in here believing was beneath her. "What is your name?" she finally asked, the arrogance gone from her voice entirely. "Daniel," I said. "Daniel Carter." She repeated it quietly, like she was testing how it felt to say, "You fight unlike anything I have witnessed, Daniel Carter. My champion was undefeated." "Was," I said, allowing myself a tired smile despite the pain still humming through my arm. Past tense matters a lot where I come from. For the first time since I had arrived in this place, she almost smiled back, catching herself before it fully formed, as though smiling at a prisoner went against everything she had been raised to believe. As they approached, I caught one last look at her face before the adrenaline finally let exhaustion take over. It was not anger I saw there. It was the beginning of respect, earned the hard way. The only way that ever really counts.